Okay, you've got questions.
Yeah, where are we going?
Crime scene. Next.
Who are you? What do you do?
What do you think?
I'd say private detective.
But
But the police don't go to private detectives.
I'm a consulting detective. The only one in the world that invented the job.
What does that mean?
It means when the police are out of their depth, which is always, they consult me.
The police don't consult amateurs.
When I met you for the first time yesterday, I said Afghanistan or Iraq. You looked surprised.
Yes, how did you know?
I didn't know, I saw. Your haircut, the way you hold yourself says military. But your conversation as you entered the room
A bit different from my day.
said trained at Bath, so army doctor, obvious. Your face is tanned, but no tan above the wrists. You've been abroad but not sunbathing. It looks really bad when you walk, but you don't ask for a chair when you stand like you've forgotten about it. So it's at least partly psychosomatic. That says the original circumstances of the injury were traumatic. Wounded in action then. Wounded in action, suntan, Afghanistan or Iraq.
You said I had a therapist.
With a psychosomatic limp, of course you've got a therapist. Then there's your brother. Your phone, it's expensive, email-enabled MP3 player. Are you looking for a flat share? You wouldn't waste money on this. It's a gift then. Scratch is not one, many over time. It's been in the same pocket as keys and coins, and that's it. Your next bit will be treated as one luxury item like this. So it's had a previous owner. Next bit's easy, you know it already.
The engraving.
Harry Watson, clearly a family member who's given you his old phone. Not your father, this is a young man's gadget. Could be a cousin, but you're a war hero who can't find a place to live. Unlikely you've got an extended family, certainly not one you're close to. So, brother, it is. Now, Clara. Who's Clara? 3 cases says there's a romantic attachment. It Spence the phone says wife, not girlfriend. She must have given it to him recently. This model's only 6 months old. Marriage in trouble then. 6 months old, he's just given it away. If she'd left him, he would have kept it. People do sentiment. No, he wanted rid of it. He left her. He gave the phone to you. That says he wants you to stay in touch. You're looking for cheap accommodation, and you're not going to your brother for help. It says you've got problems with him. Maybe you liked his wife. Maybe you don't like his drinking.
How can you possibly know about the drinking?
Shot in the dark. Good one, though. Power connection, tiny little scuff marks around the edge of it. Every night goes to plug it in to charge, but his hands are shaking. You never see those marks on a sober man's phone. Never see a drunk's without them. There you go. See, you were right.
I was right. Right about what?
The police don't consult amateurs.
That was amazing.
Do you think so?
Of course it was. Extraordinary. It was quite extraordinary.
It's not what people normally say.
What do people normally say?
Piss off.
Hey Geometry, this is lesson 2 for deductive reasoning, and we'd just like to give a throw out to Sherlock to start us out on reasoning and being able to deduce things from observations. But here we're going to be looking at observations implying laws that we're learning. So when I'm looking here, we're looking to use the law of detachment and the law of syllogism for objectives. Now, deductive reasoning is the process of reasoning logically from given statements or facts to a conclusion. Essential understanding: given true statements, you can use deductive reasoning to make a valid or true conclusion. Our first thing we're learning about is law of detachment. Law of detachment: if the hypothesis of a true conditional is true, then the conclusion is true. So here are the symbols. If P implies Q is true, okay, now we're going to have a law or a rule that we're going to follow, and you're going to be giving a conditional. And this conditional, P implies Q, will be true. Then you're going to be given a situation. Now, in the situation, you have to determine how to apply the law. You'll be given, say you're given P. If P is provided, and you know that is true, then you may conclude that P is provided and you know it's true, then you conclude that Q is true. But if P is not provided, then you can't conclude anything. And let's have some examples. So using the law of detachment, if I have 4G, I can search the internet on my phone. Well, I have 4G. So if I have 4G, then I can search the internet. Now, sometimes when you see statements, there's an implied then. And right here, there is a then. So if I have 4G, then I can search the internet on my phone. this is P, this is Q. Okay, because this is my truth, this whole statement, I then go to the next situation. This is provided. I have 4G. Well, P has been provided. So now I can conclude Q. So when I do that, I know I can search the internet on my phone. Let's try another one. Given, if I get caught texting in class, my phone will get taken away. Now, again, there's an implied then in here. If I get caught texting in class, then is right here. So then my phone will get taken away. So my P, I get caught texting in class, okay, is my hypothesis of the P, and then my conclusion is my phone will get taken away. So now I have a situation. I got texting in class. What's the next logical conclusion? Is that since I met my hypothesis, I can conclude the conclusion. So my phone will get taken away. Now, let's have you guys try something on your own. What can you conclude from the given information? If there is lightning, then it is not safe to be out in the open. So Marla sees lightning. What conclusion can you draw from that statement? Hopefully, you're seeing that Marla sees lightning fulfills my hypothesis, my P. So it is logical to me to go to the next step in this rule that it is not safe to be out in the open. So it's not safe for Marla to be out in the open. Now, using this, go ahead and answer number 2. If a figure is a square, then its sides have equal length. So a figure is a square is P. Then its sides have equal length. Its sides have equal length is Q. Figure ABCD has sides of equal length. So if a figure is a square, then its sides have equal length. Now we have to be careful here. Has this part of the statement been fulfilled? Do I know that figure ABCD is a square? Okay, I don't. So I have not fulfilled the first part. My hypothesis has not been fulfilled. So yeah, sure, figure ABC has sides of equal length. What can I conclude? It's four-sided figure, it's a rhombus, but I can't necessarily just conclude that it's a square, because although that's the converse of the original statement, when we do this law, I want to make sure you realize that this has to be fulfilled to the letter. So there's no conclusion possible. The hypothesis was not met. Now remember, these are all about law of detachment when we're doing these. Now, the law of syllogism. The law of syllogism allows us to link two conditional statements by using the law of detachment twice. Okay, the law of syllogism allows us to state a conclusion from two true conditional statements when the conclusion of one statement is in the hypothesis of the other. So, just like law of detachment, I've got P implies Q is true. But now it's a little different from law of detachment, because law of detachment required us to have P. Now we have Q. So if I have P implies Q is true and Q implies R is true, this is my linker, then I can say as my conclusion that P implies R is true. So example, if it is July, then you are on summer vacation. If you are on summer vacation, then you work at a smoothie shop. Please notice that the conclusion in one statement and the hypothesis in the other have to be the same. Then I just drop them and I can conclude if it is July, then you work at a smoothie shop. Okay, and that's what my conclusion is. If you wear banana peels as earrings, then you are crazy. If you are crazy, then you stick jelly beans up your nose. Okay, so the you are crazy is the repetitive statement that's in a conclusion of one statement in the hypothesis of another. Okay, so these are out, and then I put in for my final solution here, if you wear banana peels as earrings, then you stick jelly beans up your nose. Okay, so I have my new statement. If you wear banana peels as earrings, then you stick jelly beans up your nose. Now they have a question. You wear banana peels as earrings. What logical conclusion can you reach? Can be reached. Okay, so then you stick jelly beans up your nose. Now here's the thing. And oops, it shouldn't be then. Then should not be in there. Okay, got carried away when I was typing. No then. The logical conclusion is you stick jelly beans up your nose. Now here's my caveat. This is my legalese on this. Don't stick jelly beans up your nose. It's not a good idea. Okay, I'm just telling you right now, this was supposed to be silly. It's not supposed to be something you should do or a dare. So if you're doing it on your own and you have to pay your own bills. Okay, all right. Now, problem 2. Using the law of syllogism, what can you conclude from the given information? If you drive a car, you have a driver's license. Okay, and again, this has the then in there. If you drive a car, then you have a driver's license. And if you have a driver's license, then you pass the driver's test. So we have these implied thens in these statements. So if you drive a car, then you have a driver's license. If you have a driver's license, then you pass the driver's test. And the reason I'm pointing these out is I want you to be aware that this you have, I gotta get this going, this you have a driver's license, you have a driver's license is the thing that's bye-bye, okay, in both of these. And so now our new statement becomes, if you drive a car, then you pass the driver's test. Okay, if you drive a car, then you pass the driver's test. So now it is your turn. Okay, give it a try. Turn it off and see what you know. Okay, welcome back. If you are messing around in an ERHS parking lot, then you are being videotaped. If you are being videotaped, then a principal can see the video. Again, you got the linkers. You are being videotaped, you are being videotaped are gone. If you are messing around in the ERHS parking lot, then a principal can see the video is what you can conclude. All right, so that is our law of syllogism. When we go from one statement to another and we have the opportunity to see the linker and we cut out the linker and we have the hypothesis conclusion set up. Now, let's check this one. You're on your own. Okay, if you take a picture, then you will post it on Instagram. If you post a picture on Instagram, then other people will see it. So I'm hoping you're starting to see this connection here and here. Okay, so now we can actually write it there. If you take a picture, then others will see it. Now, what I want to make sure you recognize here is I could have these two statements out of order. In out of order, it's a little tougher to see, but I could still come up with the same thing. If this one was first and then this one was second, we'd be able to still answer it the same way. Now, again, go for it. Get this one done. Turn me off at home and go ahead and get it done. Okay, welcome back. If you use Snapchat, then you agreed to the terms of use. If you agreed to the terms of use, then Snapchat owns the pictures you take. Okay, so you agreed to the terms of use and you agreed the terms of use is out. So if you use Snapchat, then Snapchat owns the pictures you take. Okay, And that's my final statement there. Now we can combine these, okay? So if I do law of syllogism and the law of detachment, okay, can be used together to make conclusions. So we got these two laws down, and what can be concluded from the given information? If you live in Accra, then you live in Ghana. If you live in Ghana, then you live in Africa. And Asa lives in Accra. So if you're thinking about what's going on here, first of all, the law of syllogism. Let's look at that. If you live in Accra, you live in Ghana, okay? All right, are the two things. You live in, if you live in Ghana, then you live in, if you live in Accra, then you live in Ghana. If you live in Ghana, then you live in Africa. This live in Ghana is gone. So now I have a statement that I'm answering, and I'm going to use the law of detachment with. If you live in Accra, then you live in Africa. So I know Asa lives in Accra, right here. So that's been fulfilled. Then I can conclude that Asa lives in Africa. Okay, so it's a combination of the two statements. So it's your turn. Use a combination of the two statements. Okay, so turn it off and give it a try. Welcome back. If you order from Amazon, then you give them your credit card info online. Okay, if you give them your credit card info online, they can track your spending history. All right, so I've got that going on. So this give credit card info online is the main thing we get rid of. So my new statement is, if you order from Amazon, they can track your spending history. So you know your teacher shops on Amazon. So your Amazon can track your teacher's spending history. Now it's your turn to get this last one again. Go ahead and turn it off at home. Okay, if you don't eat breakfast, then you will get hungry. If you get hungry, then you can't focus in class. So this you will get hungry is gone. So my new statement is, if you don't eat breakfast, then you can't focus in class. And my statement for the use of law of detachment, remember that was law of syllogism. Now I'm using law of detachment with my new statement I wrote, and I'm going to underline my new statement I wrote so you see it. This underlined statement is the one I'm answering with the loss of detachment with Tyler did not eat breakfast. In the law of detachment, I must meet my hypothesis. Well, Tyler did not eat breakfast. You don't eat breakfast. Okay, there it is. Then you can't focus in class. Well, Tyler can't focus in class if you didn't eat breakfast. Okay, and that's how we use the law of syllogism, law of detachment in combination. So, our summary. Use the lesson objections and your notes to reflect on what we learned today. Objectives, to use the law of detachment and the law of syllogism. Okay, so keep in mind the things that we know we can do now. Okay, if I get here, I can compose converses, I can compose negations, compose inverses, compose contrapositive, biconditionals, apply a law of syllogism today, that's new, apply a law of attachment, and I can write conditional statements in symbol form. Prove conditional statements, we've done that. Use algebraic properties, we're going to do that tomorrow. So properties of congruence, I can do that. Use vertical angle theorem, we can do that. Okay, students will recognize or recall specific vocabulary or concepts including axioms, theorems, defined terms, undefined terms, hypothesis, conclusion, negation, all these we've covered already. Conditional, inverse, converse, contrapositive, hypothesis, conclusion, biconditional, conjecture. Oh, conditional inverse, boy, it looks like somebody redid a line. Counterexample, we've done that. Contradiction, deductive reasoning, we just covered. Inductive reasoning, not yet. Law of syllogism, law of detachment, complements and supplements. Ooh, we know complements, we know supplements. So we just got a couple left there. Use inductive reasoning to make conjectures. Boom. Determine the truth value of conditional. Yep. Identify the hypothesis of a conditional. Identify the conclusion of a conditional. Identify the properties of equality. Well, we're going to do that tomorrow. Identify properties of congruence. Okay. No. That's properties of congruence. That's something that's going to be in 2.5. Tell why a given counterexample is valid. Okay, we can do that. Find a counterexample for a given statement. Know the difference between definitions and undefined terms. Understand that a postulate is an accepted fact. Understand that theorems must be proved using definitions, undefined terms, and axioms. Write conditional statements. Recognize good definitions. Wow, we are almost done with this chapter. Apply the law of syllogism and law of detachment together. Boom, we just did that too. So wow, we got a lot done today. Anyways, I hope things are going well for y'all. Have yourself a wonderful day.